I want to read this to you, the first book of the New Testament, which is Matthew. So Matthew was a record keeper for the tax collectors. He didn't know how God would use his skill, but God used it to write the first book of the New Testament. And it reads, more than any other disciples, Matthew had a clear idea of how much it would cost to follow Jesus, yet he did not hesitate a moment. When he left his tax collector's booth, he guaranteed himself unemployment. Are you standing for Jesus at your job? For several of the other disciples, there was always fishing to return to. Peter ran his own business. John and James they were with their father Zebedee, which had a family business. They were all fishing. But for Matthew, there was no turning back. Two changes happened to Matthew when he decided to follow Jesus. First, Jesus gave him a new life, not only belonging to a new group, but he belonged to the Son of God. He was not accepting a different way of life. He was now an accepted person. Jesus gave Matthew a new purpose for his skill. When he followed Jesus, the only tool from his past that he carried with him was his pen. From the beginning, God had made him a record keeper. Jesus' called eventually allowed him to put his skills to work at his finest. Matthew was a keen observer, and he undoubtedly recorded what he saw going on around him. The gospel that bears his name came as a result. So whatever you're doing, don't give up. God is going to use that for his own greater good. Much of what God has for us, he gives long before we are able to consciously respond to him. He trusts us with skills and abilities ahead of schedule. He has made each of us capable of being his servant. When we trust him with what he has given us, we begin a real life of real adventures. Matthew couldn't have known that God would use his very skill he had sharpened as a tax collector to record the greatest story ever lived. Have you recognized Jesus saying to you, "Follow me"? And what was your response when you heard him?